Welcome, Minister. Okay, we move on to the next commencement matter in the name of Senator Niall Donnghaile. Senator, you have 4 minutes.
Garamaigit alas Carly agus Ira the False Roader Martin Garamaigit as in case you to Sulocum a Ragrudu. Minister, you're very welcome and thanks for taking the time out to answer the question. And the question as outlined explains itself. The rationale, my rationale for having submitted it, Minister, was in the first instance an anecdotal noticing of an increase in the bus that I used to travel down from Belfast to the Shannon being stopped at Dundalk and Gardaí coming on board to ask people for their passports or papers, something of course they're entirely within their rights to do. We're asked by the guards who come onto the bus to produce either passports or national ID cards. I don't carry either when I'm travelling, obviously internally within Ireland, and I wouldn't expect to be asked for such. So I'm wondering just what the beyond obviously the amount, Minister, and this is something that we may have to tease out down the line. I appreciate if you don't have this particular information today. Just what are the terms of reference there? If a guard comes on and encounters someone who doesn't have a passport, but just lets them proceed on, but yet asks someone else for a passport, and what is the terms of reference for such a stop beyond the amount that's taken place because of noticing that anecdotal increase, Minister. That's why I just wanted to get a reflection, because I think of our agreed duty across the board to ensure that there's no hardening of the border, or indeed no return to the borders of the past, that we don't see any manifestation along our road network that would indicate that worrying development or trend for people, if indeed that is the case. So, Garamaigit, Blas Carly.
Thank you, Senator. Minister.
Thanks, Cahirdach, and I wish to thank Senator Donnghaile for raising this issue of some importance. I believe it's important to bear in mind in the first instance, recognising that the purpose of any operation by the Gardaí or indeed the Garda National Immigration Bureau at the border is in order to detect any immigration abuses by non-EEA nationals who may wish to attempt to use the common travel area in order to gain illegal access to the state. It's not focused on, nor indeed does it impact upon Irish or UK nationals or EU nationals who, as the Senator will be aware, enjoy free movement under the Common Travel Area and under the EU Free Movement Directive. The Senator will be fully aware of that, having regard to the fact that he says that he doesn't carry ID with him and that he doesn't carry his passport. But I have to say that the number of specific operations held each year to which the Senator refers is an operational matter for An Garda Síochána, who obviously consult on a very regular basis with the UK border authorities, and obviously a decision to engage in the type of operation as referred to by the Senator is based on that consultation. These decisions, of course, take into account matters such as emerging patterns of travel and emerging patterns of immigration abuses within the common travel area. And again, the Senator will be importance of maintaining the common travel area in the context of our discussions as part of EU27 with the UK on the matter of Brexit and the withdrawal of the UK, including Northern Ireland, from the European Union. An initiative entitled Operation Gull between the GNIB on this side of the border and the UK Immigration Service has been ongoing for a number of years. The sole purpose of Operation Goal is in order to address the issue of immigration abuses within the Common Travel Area, and that will result and has resulted in checks conducted at ports and airports in both jurisdictions, including to, but not limited to, along the border between Ireland and Northern Ireland. Over the past number of years, these operations have been conducted in Ireland under Operation Sonnet, which is specifically aimed to target and detect and prevent illegal immigration into the state via the common travel arrangements. These targeted operations are in addition to the day-to-day immigration controls in place in order to maintain the integrity of the common travel area. Detailed data in relation to the number of operations pre and post the date of the UK referendum are not readily available. However, I have listened to the point raised by the Senator, and I have acknowledged his anecdotal evidence, and indeed I acknowledge his first-hand experience and knowledge in this area, having regard to his attendance here and membership of the Oireachtas. However, I can say that under Operation Sonnet there were 91 detections in 15, 27 detections in 16, a provisional figure of 22 detections for 17. I'll confirm those as soon as I can. These detections came about as a result of a number of specific days of action. And these days of actions were 4 in number in 15, 2 in 16, 2 in 17. In addition to these days of action, members of An Garda Síochána continually to carry out routine checkpoints along the border in an effort to help detect persons attempting to enter the state illegally. As a result of such detections, some 774 people were refused leave to land along the land border with Northern Ireland during this period. That is 275 persons in 15, 282 persons in 16, 217 persons in 17. And of these, 20 of those claimed asylum, while the remaining 754 were removed from the state in accordance with the law. I have to say, Cathaoirleach, and I would invite the Senator to agree with me that the continuation, the preservation, the maintenance of the common travel area is one of the main objectives of the government in the context of the Brexit negotiations. These key benefits are really important to our people. The free movement of people, the wider economic benefits means that we must ensure that the common travel area is not abused by persons who are not legally entitled to such freedom of movement. This will require appropriate checks to be made on the land border to maintain the integrity of the common travel arrangements. But I have to say here this morning that such checks will not and such patrols do not impact the freedom of movement of the many millions of Irish and UK nationals who use the common travel area each year, and particularly the 35,000 people who cross the border, like the Senator, on a daily basis.
Thanks, Minister. Do you wish a brief?
Yeah, very briefly, Les Carley, Minister. First of all, thank you for providing me with some of the information and the stats that you have this morning. They're worth reflecting on. It is disappointing, Minister, that the detailed data in relation to the number of operations, the stops, as in the vehicle stops and vehicle checks, isn't readily available. And I understand it's a quick turnaround expected of officials. So I may ask one of my colleagues to follow up with a PQ in relation to those details. And I do, of course, agree with you. The Gardaí have to maintain their obligations in terms of the common travel area, and we have to do all that we can to ensure that the integrity of the common travel area is protected. I would just be keen to know that certainly, whether it's from a political direction or indeed an internal policing, perhaps misunderstanding around their expectations in the first instance, that if there has been a steady incline in these amount of checks, which certainly I have noticed, I don't think there is necessarily a need for that beyond, as you rightly outlined, what has been implemented pre-Brexit thus far, which has been reasonably successful in identifying people who are entering the state illegally. So, Minister, again, thank you. It's something I'm sure, like myself, you'll keep a watching brief on and keep an interest in, and we are very much in concert and agreement that the common travel area in any future arrangement has to be protected. So,
okay, thank you very much, Senator. Minister.
I welcome the comments of the Senator, and of course I would be happy to keep the House fully informed, and will do so as far as my responsibilities indeed to the other House are concerned by way of replies to parliamentary questions in order to provide an appropriate level of information to members of the Houses. But again, I'm sure everybody will agree that the maintenance and preservation of the integrity of the common travel area continues to be a priority for us here, and of course has always been a priority for our immigration services. While Brexit has perhaps focused wider attention on the operation of the common travel area, the operational protection of the common travel area has not changed because of the result of the referendum in the United Kingdom. Indeed, I was pleased only last week to have an opportunity of meeting for the first time the recently appointed Lord Chancellor and Home Secretary David Goke in the United Kingdom. Among the matters we discussed was the matter of the common travel area and the need to ensure, as the negotiations on the matter of the withdrawal of the UK from the European Union enter a critical phase, that both the UK and EU 27, including Ireland, continues to prioritise the need to ensure the unique relationship on the island of Ireland and between the two islands of Ireland and Great Britain continues to operate as was. And one of the fundamental pillars of that unique relationship is the common travel arrangement, common travel area, and I welcome the support of all Shanadori here in this House on that, because the continuation of the common travel arrangements, including, of course, the physical manifestation of that, which is the open land border between Ireland and Northern Ireland, that remains a key objective and indeed a fundamental pillar of the negotiations that are ongoing. The objective of our government and the objectives of this state is to operate a fair and balanced immigration protection regime. And this, of course, means that the common travel arrangements in the common travel area is not subject or open to any abuse that might ultimately impact adversely upon or might indeed undermine its operation. And that means that there will be appropriate checks, including on the land border. And I believe it's important, therefore, that any appropriate checks from time to time will be proportionate and will be along the lines of ensuring that our immigration protection regime is both fair and balanced. And I want to acknowledge the close working relations between Ireland and the UK on immigration matters. And yes, there are some specific issues in the context of the Brexit negotiations pertaining to home affairs and immigration that we need to be mindful of, but I would be happy to keep the House and the Senator informed of developments as they occur. But I believe it's important that we continue to ensure that that close working relationship continues. And indeed, I'm confident that these will continue, both in the run-up to the actual withdrawal of the UK from the European Union, through the transition period, and also beyond.
Okay, thank you very much, Minister. Thank you, Senator. And we